Yeah, no, I'll catch up eventually. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 383. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, we have a regional to look forward to on Saturday. So we'll preview. Maybe one of us is going to that. Maybe.
Yes.
Good. And we both saw a season finale of a show and a movie. You saw another episode of a show that I didn't watch, but it's getting close to the point where I think when I get back from the trip I'm going on, I'm probably going to break down. I'll be canceling my CBS subscription,
Right.
and I will activate the HBO subscription and start watching Game of Thrones.
And just watch it, because you haven't watched any, right?
No, I read the book many years ago, like a year before the show started. I was like, wow, this is an interesting story, but I don't like how I'm being treated by the author at all. And I didn't want. I mean, there was a preview for the next book, and I'm like, this is nothing I'm interested in at all. So
there was a great comedic web video a number of years ago, like around season 4, to that feeling that it was basically an it gets better video. Only about halfway through it, they're like, yeah, you know what? Actually, it really doesn't. It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. But it's a spectacle.
It really is.
The last big show that everyone was talking about forever was Breaking Bad, right? And when that was done and everything was on Netflix, man, I burned through that in like a couple of weeks, all the seasons, and it was amazing. So I'm looking forward to. I probably won't binge watch as much as I did. It'll probably be an episode a night, just until we're done, all the seasons in a row. And by the time we get to the end will have already come and gone. So
I was gonna say, if you started now, you could probably catch up in time for the finale, but you're gonna have a week off on a boat. That's
a
week off would be useful. A week off on a boat is not
so much. So maybe we can start. Maybe I can start giving recaps of what I watched.
That would be really funny. That would be funny.
All right, very good. So let's talk about what we watched. So I guess the most obvious thing is the big time travel, big, huge end cap. So
yeah.
So Orville. You didn't like it?
It's not that I didn't like it. It's that it fell back on the thing that we were talking about that I was praising it for last time, which is they didn't go hit the big reset button. They kept going. We're going to have consequences. Let's see what they are. Oh wait, no, it's just a part 2, and then we're going to hit the big reset button, which is like, it was still well done. It's not a tired. I mean, it's not a tired trope. It is kind of a tired trope as far as Star Trek like things are concerned, but they haven't done it yet. It was done pretty well. It was a cool kind of I don't know, made me think of Chains of Command, I think, is the episode where Riker and Picard are off with Baran, and no, Chains of Command is a different series of episodes. Anyway, another 2-parter where they're off being non-aligned. Having the crew off like that, that was kind of fun. A little brief AU. It was cool to see Alara come back.
That as soon as I thought, look, Rogue's gonna say something.
Yeah, I was excited. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, no,
and they had several cool allusions to deeper relationships that probably happened in this side universe that we don't get to explore because it was this side universe. But it was fun. It was cool. I would have rather had them just keep going in this universe.
Just have a bunch of episodes in the
maybe not as catastrophic, but I mean, or keep it, that'd be fine. But have there be changes, have them keep going and be like, man, remember when? No, I don't. Like, how did that happen? And tie it in further. But it's just a one episode. It was fine.
I enjoyed a lot of it. I don't think there was any point where I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. No, I was in the whole way. What kept me uh, just kept drawing my attention in was the music. I don't usually pay attention
Yeah.
to that. I think classically we came out of what was it like the first Pirates of the Caribbean, and you and like Matt were like, man, the music was great. I'm like, man, I don't even remember the music. What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, exactly. But the music was such a they pulled from so many different sources. Whoever was in charge of it was like,
Yeah.
could you write like for the prequels? Because or the new Star Wars, the asteroid field was just taken right out of that. It was perfect. There was a lot. Just man, when the ship was coming out of the water, it was like what was it? Episode motion picture, Search for Spock. There was a lot of musical cues that even I picked up, and I'm terrible at that kind of thing. So I'd be interested to hear what someone like Matt Kirk would say about it, or you, if you noticed anything beyond or just to go back and listen to it again.
I didn't pick up on any like specific cues like that, but it was all very. I did notice it was all very heavily reminiscent of. Man, this sounds like Star Trek. They did a really good job of, making that feel. And they've done that pretty regularly in the show, particularly emulating the style of the TNG incidental music. But yeah, this was a little more cinematic.
Yes, very cinematic. I know the soundtracks are available. I would definitely be interested in getting the season 2 soundtrack because that'd be fun to listen to, put on the background while making cards or whatnot. So
great to be have for a game.
Yeah, exactly. Just especially the more cinematic music we got here at the end. I like the ending. I'm looking for. It would make a nice bookend if it was the very end of if it doesn't get renewed. Sure. But we can pick up next time. Maybe there were some subtle changes that we'll see. We'll pick up next season. Maybe we'll just pick up next season.
Maybe she'll remember subconsciously some things that.
Well, if you remember, they talked about that morning when he called. She had to be convinced, even though he called. She had to be convinced to go on the second date. When
That's true.
Right on it. So maybe they went too far. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I think my biggest objection, aside from the reset button, was it kind of like they made you feel like Kelly was the main character of the story, but it was really about Ed. And nobody argues the point that this is Seth MacFarlane's Mary Sue into the Star Trek universe, but the very taking it all down to
you weren't the captain,
he wasn't the captain, so the Kaelon invade. Although I'll take it back upon retrospect. Now that I think about it, it wasn't just that he wasn't there. Okay, redacted. Because I just remembered it. They mentioned that it was because he wasn't there, but it was because he wasn't there that Dr. Finn wasn't there.
Oh,
because Claire signed on because he was such a clearly troubled captain.
Right. So she wasn't there.
And because she wasn't there, the kids weren't there, and the kids are the ones that affect. So, okay. All right. I take that all back.
All right.
I feel better about that. I'm glad I talked it out. Good answer.
Back to 5 stars. All right. No, I had a great time. And again, it's disappointing on some level that we can't have cards for all these things.
Yeah.
I'm reminded, when we were talking about Discovery and making cards from that, and Orville, imagining cards from that. Back when we played, you remember the Battlestar Galactica game?
Yes.
How it came out like first or second season, and then we learned a lot of things later on that invalidated many of the cards because there was Cylon type, and I guess you'd have to wait until the series is over before you make a bunch of cards or something like that. Even didn't DS9 come out well before the end, so that like Cisco possibly didn't have music and things like that.
Yeah, we didn't know he was Bajoran or half prophet.
Half Prophet, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. But that's why. I mean, that was more of a one-y. I mean, and that kind of evolved out of that. Was one-y at the beginning was supposed to be, this is the quintessential card of this character.
Yep.
And that's it. It was they were not like, we're going to make another Picard, we're going to make another Riker, Klingon Riker, and
that's right. You can get away with first series, premiere Picard, and then
but
late
they
season
since evolved out of that. So now you can have early and late. I mean, particularly in 2E. 2E is designed around specifically having different versions. But that was really, I think they kind of got past that. So you could do early versions and then have more evolved versions.
So from this, we get a bunch of AU versions of the characters where, Kalon's taken over. It reminded me of that the episode where Worf's jumping around and there was that Riker and Worf on the bridge trying to trick everything together. It was just falling apart all around him because the Borg were everywhere.
Yeah, parallels,
right. Very good. All right. We've got until, I guess, hopefully until this fall before we start watching Orville again. We also,
I will say, sorry. This is also a segue. I think I was going to say, I think also the Orville suffered in my viewing because, unlike you, which I'm guessing you watched it Thursday night, I was out watching Avengers Endgame Thursday night, and then Game of Thrones on Sunday, and then I didn't watch Orville until I got home, or till after that on Sunday. So, of the three big events,
sure, that would be the lowest on the list. I understand.
That probably should not have been. It probably should have been viewed in that order rather than seeing that afterwards. But
yeah, I think I ended up watching it Friday night.
Yeah.
No, that would be right. It must have been. I think, you know what it was. I also watched it after Endgame. I got tickets for Endgame at 6 a.m. on Saturday because that's the time that I could get a good seat, and I got a great seat. It was right in that first row past the barrier, right in the middle. Nice. There was just one seat left over, so I grabbed it. The theater was packed. There were no empty seats. There were showings at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and I started at 9 and worked my way down until 6 till I can get a seat. But no, everything was full. And I think after I got back, I was kind of in a bit of a daze for a little while because it was early in the morning, and I had like an hour to kill. So I popped in, jumped on Amazon and watched the last Orville episode. So I was already in a happy place there. So that's probably why I liked it so much. Endgame itself was a long movie, but it did not feel like a long movie.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed. It was every ounce necessary. There was not a wasted minute in that movie. I mean, because there's 20-something characters you have to cover. Even I suppose we should pause and say, for the record, this is the point at which we're going to talk about a movie, and there will be spoilers. No shit. So stop watching if you haven't seen it yet. But seriously,
if you have 3 hours, watch the movie and then come back.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that really stuck with me comment-wise afterwards was Caitlin, who generally does not shy away from spoilers, or in some cases even embraces them, was like, about halfway through the movie, I really wish I had been spoiled for everything that happens because I was so tense about being concerned about what was going to happen. And then by the end, I was so happy I had not been spoiled because there was so many good, interesting things that happened that I got to experience. So if you seriously have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, please don't be spoiled before you go see it. Stop listening, stop watching. We will not be offended. Go watch the movie first.
Right. So I did not bury my head in the sand like I have with previous movies in other franchises. I ended up seeing the trailer when I saw Captain Marvel, so that was pretty much it. Everything else I kind of skipped over. I didn't read anything or look into anything. I kind of, knowing that this was likely the last movie for a couple of the major stars, kind of, I guess, is a bit of a spoiler. Going in, this is probably it for Iron Man and Captain America, but beyond that, I had nothing. I actively saw nothing. So everything that happened was new to me. That was great. I wouldn't do it any other way. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, for 3 hours of movie, there was so much they could have done, and I'm really glad that they clamped down on the overactive marketing folks from, spoiling way too much, because they could have been really, but as I do with a lot of these movies, it's like, you don't have to spoil so much to go get people to go see this movie. People are already going to go see this movie. So, give them let it be a surprise. And this one was great. There was so much. And even the trailers we did get were, all of that footage was like the first half hour of the movie. And even then, not knowing that, none of it was really spoilery. It was like, yep, we got a plan and we hope it works, because I don't know what's going to happen if we don't. And angst.
Yeah, all the speculation that I was privy to, and I'd actually go out and was, all right, well, how are they gonna finally get Thanos? Is Captain Marvel gonna jump in and save the day? Is they're gonna figure? And then they kill Thanos in like the first 10 minutes. It seemed like, ooh, that was we got like 2 hours and 50 minutes. I don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah. So that was
that's Return of the King. It's all falling action. It's just like Return of the King.
That's right. We're going to get eagles, and there's going to be hobbits singing, and then Aragorn's going to put a crown on his own head or something like that. Man, I actually yesterday I listened to, or I watched on YouTube, the Kevin Smith's review. Not a review, just kind of, he just apparently watched the movie, sat down, and just recapped the whole thing for like an hour and a half, and it was,
oh wow.
And I don't think he missed anything. It was amazing, but it was interesting to hear his perspective as a director, and knowing a lot of these people, to hear, okay, well, then this and that, this made me feel this. I'm like, well, that I agree with just about everything you said, sir. So thank you for
that. Cool, that's interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it was great. I think it was called Batman Beyond or something like that. He used to be Fat Man on Batman was his show, and I think it's Batman Beyond.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to things moving forward. I'm looking forward to Thor and Guardians. I never did see Homecoming. I have to go back and watch Homecoming.
The Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly, the Asgardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna have to go back and watch Homecoming so that I can be more excited for Far From Home. The other Spider-Man movie coming out. Beyond that, I guess we're getting a Black Panther 2 and a Doctor Strange 2, and
I would assume a Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, likely. So
what with the $1 billion and all.
Yeah.
So and that was an interesting thing, not movie related or not plot related, was Captain Marvel tickets surged back, even though it's almost 2 months old, and took second place at the box office this weekend because of I guess all the Avengers hype, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really, I don't know. I really enjoyed almost all of it. There were some parts I was really conflicted on. There were several parts that over the course of the movie, I was like, I can't believe they did this, or I kind of wish they had did this differently, or I don't know how I feel about that. And then one by one, they gradually resolved themselves as the movie went on, which was cool. That's kind of what you want. We want to evoke emotions and have them kind of resolve themselves. I mean, the big one that still sticks with me, it was the Soul Stone and having Natasha make the sacrifice, I guess, because of the way, I don't know. There's been a lot of interesting discussion on it that I have had with some friends, but first off, I kind of felt like they walk in and Elrond says, "Hey, well, the Soul Stone, yes. Well, only one who has lost what all they love can get the Soul Stone." And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just hand it to Hawkeye? Because
that's where he's at.
That's where he's at. Like that really should have been it. And I thought that anything beyond that, and it's all very nebulous. Like, well, why does he have to kill Natasha, or why does he have to make that sacrifice? And he doesn't kill Natasha. She jumps of her own accord. And so how does that qualify? And so I don't know, it was all very irritating, and I didn't like that, particularly at that point in the movie. Of the surviving Avengers, we've only got like 9-10 people left, and 2 of them are women. One of them was replaced by her evil future twin, and Natasha gets killed, and now it's just the dudes show, which was really frustrating. From a Natasha perspective, I kind of see it working for her character, but I also felt irritating because she had finally kind of come into her own, leading the Avengers over these 5 years while everybody else kind of bailed. Tony dropped out, Steve dropped out. Like, she's the only one in fact, pretty much all the women are holding everything together. Okoye and Captain Marvel and Black Widow. I think War Machine sticks around. But following that, and I wish they had mentioned it, because they have this huge. So the other big sacrifice at the end, because this ties into that, is Iron Man, right? You come in, and there's a lot of, I don't know how much background you know. I am only passingly familiar with it, just because a lot of people have been expecting Captain America to die for like 3 years. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's going to happen, this is it. And everybody's like, very Luke Skywalker about it. If I have to watch Steve Rogers die with my own 2 eyes, I'd be very upset. But then when Tony dies, it's kind of like, hey, that was Steve's moment. That should have been Steve. But I was way happier about what they did with Steve. That just killed me in the end, where he goes to take the stones back and then gets to stay with Peggy. So that was fantastic. But then they have this huge grand celebration for Tony, and it's like, he's not the only one who died, right? Where is any acknowledgement about Black Widow or Vision, who, like, we barely gets mentioned. So I don't know, that was a little frustrating. But again, there's apparently, speaking of Return of the King, going to be an extra 40-minute long director's cut. So,
oh my,
we'll have that to look forward to. I would not be surprised if they did a theater event for that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I would be interested in getting, because they jumped into the first Avengers movie. They did some kind of tie into Winter Soldier. They did I believe about Doctor Strange. They did a little bit of work with Thor 2.
Yeah.
A little callback to, I don't know what else. I'd be interested to watch just those movies and then watch this again.
Yeah, everything where they go back to.
Yeah.
Well, they reference so the 70s jersey is referenced by Ant-Man.
Okay.
But also a Winter Soldier when they go there in the present.
Well,
shoot, what else?
What I really want is the adventures of Captain America putting the stones back, because his encounter with Red Skull has to be terribly interesting, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like, you.
Interesting.
And I got the soul stone. You got the soul. How about we make a trade and we get Natasha back, right?
Man, that would be, because they used to do, for a while, they were doing shorts in front of the DVD releases of each of the movies for like phase 1 and phase 2. That would be a great series of shorts to throw in.
Yeah, that would be
like
fun.
Just one per stone.
Just sorry, Natalie Portman. I got to put this in.
Why does this keep happening?
Did you see that?
And well, she turns around and screams, "Loki!"
Yeah, right. That was something that I caught when Rocket was running around in Asgard. Someone yelled, "Stop that rabbit!" or something like that.
That's right.
That was great. But if they
do America's ass,
if they do another period piece, like in the 70s, or I guess late 60s, they could potentially bring back Captain America actor at the right age to play himself.
Yeah.
Just step in and do something, and then. But I'm not working here. You didn't see me. And I'm
that guy kind of looks like Captain America.
Yeah, come back in 10 years when he's the right age. Just drop him in something.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be funny.
All right, I had a great time with the movie. I haven't seen it again, and I probably won't. We've got some time to kill in Seattle this weekend.
That sounds like a great time killer.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah, because our flight gets in and we got some time, and I think we have some time before we can get on the boat. So maybe even a showing in the morning would be great.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it again. There was so much to see.
Yeah. Apparently,
like you said,
so when they're Strange and his mystics are opening all the portals. Apparently, Howard the Duck is walking through one of them. I have to go back and look for that. And just a little. I wasn't in a theater on opening night, so there wasn't a lot of outbursts of sound that would cause me to miss things. But just have eyes wide, dancing about the screen. I'm sure there's something else I missed.
Sure.
I'll probably get to go see that again.
Yeah,
I have not.
That whole scene was such a great, just because of the pacing. Because they get the stones, they get the glove, Hulk snaps, and they're like, "What happened? Did it work?" And just when they're like, "Hey, it worked," and even I was like, "Okay, yeah, everybody's back now." So now we have all these reinforcements, and then the whole place blows up, and that goes on just long enough for you to kind of forget.
Oh, I had completely forgotten.
And then like, oh my God, what are they going to do now? Oh, it's the cavalry.
Yeah. Yes, and I think the one time that the theater did make noise was when Cap has the hammer, and it's like,
yes,
that was pretty good. All right, I again, go see it again. Anything else? What are you doing on Saturday when I'm heading for the airport?
When you are on your way to the airport, I will be on my way to Johnny's house. We're going to have a 1E regional not sealed deck draft, TNG starter draft. So we'll get the starters, and Johnny's going to have some packs prepared. I think we have some additional non-virtual packs to draft, but it's all going to be sealed deck fun. Open your packs and draft them out and build a deck, and and then there's the actual gaming part, which is always less fun than drafting. but it's entertaining to see what everybody does with the random cards they get. So that should be a lot of fun. Nice even playing field for everyone, and it'll be great to see. I don't think I've been to a tournament this year, so
there's 4 of you signed up right now. I'm sorry I can't join you, but you'll get to see JD again, so that'd be nice. I like Johnny's note on the tournament listing here. What better way to celebrate Star Wars Day in San Diego than at Johnny's house playing Star Trek?
I actually that ended up being a conflict for me, but I had blocked the day out for this long before that. So I was like, nope, I'm going to go play because I haven't. But on
call you up or what?
no, that's funny because they canceled their Star Wars days. But I got my Stormtrooper armor finally approvable and approved this past weekend, and so there's a unexpectedly large number of events, troop events this Saturday for May the 4th. So they're like, hey, anybody wants to come in? Hey, you're approved now. You should come do an event. I'm like, yeah, kind of occupied. There's a couple that are in the evening. And so if I think I might be able to squeak out and go do one of
Suit
those.
up after the tournament. Nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to sacrifice the tournament. And we only have 4 players. So
your attendance is required.
Yeah, mandatory fun.
All right. Well, I will be out next week, so it will also be difficult to record the following week because I will be in Seattle for an A's game. That should be fun. The ball will be flying back the next morning. So if we can do maybe another Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, we can get a recap of games played on the boat and how the regional went, and what do we have to look forward to next.
Sounds like fun. All right. That's all the intelligence we have for this week. I hope that everybody out there had fun at Endgame and or watching the Orville. And if you want to talk about Game of Thrones, you can message me personally and leave Dan out of it because hopefully we can keep him spoiler free until he can watch the last 7 seasons up to now. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I am Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the multiverse, I guess.
I'll snap my fingers and mill half my deck. I don't know.